Black shadows hanging from buildings. That's all in our third story, so sit back with a coffee or something stronger as we enjoy 3 true ghost stories as told by you. Number 1. My house is haunted.
So this happened when I was a child. My family and I live in North Carolina. Our house was surrounded by woods, and we had few neighbors. Every now and again, around midnight, I'd lie in bed because I couldn't sleep. I got a creepy feeling that something or someone was watching me. Sometimes I heard footsteps in the attic above my bedroom. It sounded like somebody was walking around. I went outside my bedroom into the corridor, and everyone in my family was asleep with their doors closed. So I returned to my room and shut my door. I was lying in my bed again when I heard footsteps in the attic. Then I heard something fall inside my closet. I was so terrified that I raced down the corridor, looking behind me to see if I was being chased, and ran into my parents' bedroom and woke them up. They were confused at first, but I described what I had heard. My parents thought it was probably just my imagination and did not believe me. They walked with me back to my bedroom, looked around, and then entered my closet. A board game had spilled across the closet floor. It was on the back of the shelf at the top of my closet, so it couldn't have fallen unless someone pushed it off. My parents helped me clean it up and put it back on the shelf. They assured me that there was nothing to be concerned about, and then put me back to bed. They went back to bed, and a few minutes later, I heard someone whisper something. It sounded like someone was saying my name. Then I noticed a shadow that resembled a human strolling across the wall near my closet. I assumed it was a ghost and freaked out again, so I grabbed my pillow and blanket and went to sleep in my parents' bedroom. After that, I stayed in their room for a few nights. I eventually returned to sleeping in my bedroom, and when I laid in bed around midnight, I could still hear footsteps in the attic, which continued until we moved away. To this day, I have no idea what or who that was, but I still think about it all the time.
Number 2. My scary vacation.
So I just feel the need to rant about this because it wasn't that long ago. In May 2023, I was taking the bus from Atlanta to New York City. The bus was basically our only option, but that was fine as my family came along as well. I felt safe since, I had people I knew besides me. Along the trip, I fell asleep and the bus lights were dimmed. But after some time, I felt this nail on the side of my shoulder. It was like a scratch. Nothing major, and I wasn't hurt, but, I turned around to see that my parents were asleep. It felt like a hand, and someone calling my name. I felt so uncomfortable and scared at the moment, because knowing that it wasn't my parents, I was wondering what else could it be. I tried falling asleep for the rest of the ride because I was completely exhausted, but I couldn't and just wanted to switch seats. I just switched seats with my partner for the rest of the ride. Later on, when we arrived in New York City in our Airbnb, everything was fine. We were enjoying our stay. It was the evening. We decided to start our day early tomorrow morning after getting some rest. My partner and I slept on a mattress out near the living room. I was the last to fall asleep, and I couldn't help but stay awake. I kept hearing strange sounds like someone walking around me on the wooded floor. I kept flashing my phone flashlight too to make sure I wasn't hearing things. The trash can kept on making sounds of the bag rustling around too. I didn't know what to do, but I stayed awake up until 6 a.m. It was 3 a.m. at the time. I've had sleep paralysis before multiple times and quite disturbing dreams. But this was the reality. It was like a presence was following me on the bus and on the trip. It made me worried the entire time, so I was always on a watch. I prayed so that it could go away. Nothing else has happened since, but what the hell did I experience?
Number 3. The ghostly shadows.
Before starting my story, I just want to say that I've been seeing these things since childhood. It's like I've had a certain connection, or I could see things that not everyone else could. I know it sounds a bit crazy and I don't tell people this lightly. It takes a lot for me to admit I have these weird things going on. But there you go. So, coming to the happenings. The place my mom and I moved to last year, 2023, I can't expose. But it's famous for murder and stuff in the old times. The colony I live in is built up just on the side of a cemetery and the owner was apparently killed for his land many years ago. We didn't know that before coming here. Everything was fine at first. Until one day in the early hours, I came from a movie. It was around 1 or 2 a.m. I saw a black shadow hanging from a wire or a rope or something. I couldn't believe it. I actually just looked away and then checked again. I thought my eyes were messing with me in the dark. But it was still there. It was hanging and I constantly felt like it was staring at me. I tried ignoring it for the while. I thought it must be me. I'm tired or something. I then saw the same figure many times over the next couple of months at around the same time of night. Just hanging off my roof. I was scared at first but then began to get used to it. I also didn't tell Mom. Remember, I'm a 17-year-old boy who sees things that other people can't see. How would that sound to a small town? I'd be known as that weird kid that everyone avoids. One day I heard a noise. Noise of footsteps running on the roof. Our rooftop is directly above my room. I heard someone running around 2 a.m. at night constantly for hours. This wasn't possible. It was winter and freezing outside. I ignored it as best I could. But it happened every night. One day my mom noticed too. Someone was running and banging on the roof constantly for hours. Literally 4-5 hours. She next day asked our maid what's happening. The maid said, "You are not the only one experiencing this. Anyone who has lived on the top floor experiences this to this date." Then added, "It's a spirit who runs for hours. People don't believe it, but a family left the home because of it." Man, I got chills knowing that. And to this date, even last night, I heard footsteps running very heavily and fast around the roof or banging something on the floor. It was all okay and bearable until I got a knock on the window last night randomly at 12 a.m. or something. Up to now, it has never hurt anybody. But I don't know how long my mom can bear it.